God bless you, dear students. Today we are going to discuss the chapter 7, A Vile Little Thing, and it is written by D.H. Lawrence. So let's know something about the author. D.H. Lawrence was an English novelist, poet, playwright, essayist, literary critic, and painter. The excerpt above is from his story Adolf, and this story was published after his death in the two-part anthology and phonics. So here we are going to start this chapter, A Vile Little Thing. When we were children, our father often worked at night. Once it was springtime and he used to arrive home, black and tired, just as we were downstairs in our night dresses. The night met morning face to face, and the meeting was not always happy. Perhaps it was painful to my father to see us gaily entering upon the day, into which he dragged himself soiled and weary. He didn't like going to bed in the spring morning sunshine. In this paragraph, the word gaily means happy, and soiled and weary, it means dirty and tired. So let's see about this paragraph. Here, the narrator is telling his childhood story that when they were children, their father worked at night in the coal mines, and he comes at home every morning very tired and dirty. And the moment these children were also downstairs in their night dresses as the children prepared for school, and after his night shift when they meet in the morning, so sometimes their meeting was not always happy, as their father usually comes tired and dirty, and he never likes to go to bed. Instead, he just loves the openness of nature after a night in the mine. Okay, so now second paragraph. But sometimes he was happy because of his long walk through the fields in the first daybreak. He loved the open morning after a night down the pit. He watched every bird, every stir in the trembling grass, answering the calls of birds. So sometimes their father just feels happy because of long walk through the fields in the first daybreak. So it refers that father loved the fresh morning after a night shift in that coal mine, and he watched the birds, the shaking grass, and he also whistles in response to the birds' calls. Let's see the next paragraph. One sunny morning, we were all sitting at the table when we heard his heavy tread. He passed the window darkly, and we heard him go into the scullery. But immediately he came into the kitchen. We felt at once that he had something to tell us. Okay, heavy tread means the heavy sound of his boots, and scullery, it is a small kitchen or room for washing dishes and other dirty household work. Okay, then no one spoke. We watched his black face for a second. Give me a drink, he said. So here on one morning, their father came home, and the children were sitting at the table, and they were uneasy at his mood when they heard the heavy sound of his boots, and their father just quickly passed the window and he went to the scullery, and these children felt that he has something to say, but no one spoke, and only they watched his black face for a second, and father asked to give him his drink. Okay, now my mother hastily poured out his tea. He went to pour it out into his saucer, but instead of drinking, it, he suddenly put something on the table among the teacups. A tiny brown rabbit, a small rabbit, sitting against the bread as still as if it were a statue. A rabbit, a young one. Who gave it to you, father? But he laughed and went to take off his coat. We jumped towards the rabbit. Is it alive? Can you feel its heartbeat? Okay, so after that, this narrator's mother quickly gives him tea, and father poured the tea into a saucer, and instead of drinking it, he just put something on the table among the cups, and it was a tiny brown small rabbit who was sitting near the bread and without any movement, as it was a statue. And these children were excited and asked father that who gave this rabbit. But their father laughed and went to remove his coat, and the children jumped towards the rabbit and were asking whether the rabbit is alive, or can anybody feel its heartbeat. Okay, now let's see the further paragraphs. My father came back and sat down heavily in his armchair. He dragged his saucer to him and blew his tea, pushing out his red lips under his black mustache. Where did you get it, father? I picked it up, he said, wiping his naked forearm over his mouth and beard. Okay, so dragged means pulled. And saucer, it is a small round plate which is kept under a cup. And blew means just to push to something forcefully using air from your mouth. So after that, father came and sat down in his armchair and pulled his saucer and blew his tea forcefully out his red lips under his black mustache. And then narrator asked his father from where did he get this rabbit, and father replied that he picked it up, and then he wiped his mouth and beard from his arm. Okay, now come on to the next page. Where it is a wild one, came my mother's quick voice. Yes, it is. Then why did you bring it? Cried my mother. Oh, we wanted it, came our cry. Yes, I have no doubt you did, answered my mother sharply, but she was drowned in the noise of our questions. On the field path, my father had found a dead mother rabbit and 3 dead little ones, this one alive but unmoving. Then suddenly narrator's mother asked whether it is a wild one. Then father replied yes, and then mother just got angry, and that father brought the wild animal home, but the children cried that they wanted it, and mother sharply said that she has no doubt what they all did, and but all of them were making noise by questioning, so their mother's voice was drowned. And then father says he found it with its dead mother and 3 dead little rabbits, but the one who is now with them only alive. Now next. But what killed them, father? I couldn't say, my child. I should think she had eaten something. Why did you bring it? Again my mother's voice of blame. You know what it will be? My father made no answer, but we were loud in disagreement. He must bring it. It's not big enough to live by itself. It would die, we shouted. Yes, and it will die now. And then there will be another outcry. My mother hated the tragedy of dead pets. Our hearts sank. Okay, here outcry means tearful protest, and tragedy of dead pets means here mother did not like to see the children upset after their pet died. So now children want to know that what killed that little rabbit's mother, and the other 3 little rabbits. Father says that he couldn't say anything, and maybe the mother rabbit had eaten something wrong. And then again, narrator's mother blamed father to brought it and in the home, and father did not answer, but children with unlikeness shouted with their opinions and said to bring the little one, and they protested that it would die without their help. So mother also says here that the children will be upset if the animal dies. Okay, now it won't die. Father, will it? Why will it? It won't. I should think not, said my father. You know well enough it will. Haven't we had it all before? Said my mother. They don't always die, said my father angrily. But my mother reminded him of other little wild animals he had brought, which had sulked and refused to live, and brought storms of tears and trouble into our house. So here father becomes angry, and he says that wild animals don't always die. The narrator's mother reminds him of other wild animals that refuse to live and bringing tears and trouble into the house. So mother knows it will not survive and reminding father that we had it all before. Okay, now the next paragraph. Trouble fell on us. The little rabbit sat on our lap, unmoving, its eye wide and dark. We brought it milk, warm milk, and held it to its nose. It sat as still as if it was far away, hidden in its hole. We wetted its mouth with drops of milk. It gave no sign, did not even shake off the wet white drops. Somebody began to weep a few secret tears. So after it, they all became very upset, and this little rabbit was sitting on their lap without any movement, and they brought warm milk and keep it just close to the rabbit's nose, and the rabbit was sitting in a still position. Then they wetted rabbit's mouth with drops of milk, and even then also the rabbit did not shake off its mouth, and so there was no sign of its movement. And as it happened, then someone among them just started weeping in tears. Then soon their mother she demands to take the rabbit to the field. Okay, now her command wasn't vain. We were driven to get dressed for school. There sat the rabbit. It was like a tiny dark cloud. Watching it, the emotions died out of our breast. Useless to love it, it did not want love and affection, a wild little thing. It became more silent when we approached it with love. So here the mother, she is just ignored, and her command is useless, as these children were inspired to get ready for school. And at one side this rabbit was sitting, and it refers here a tiny dark cloud, because the color brown, the rabbit's brown color, it is just referring with the word dark, and cloud is showing as it was in a still position, and it's showing the stubbornness of the rabbit's movement. So watching it, the emotions died out of our breast. Okay, then as they watched it, their feelings just died, and they felt useless to love this little one, as it was not accepting their love, and became more silent when they wanted to show it their affection and by getting close to it. Wrapping it in a piece of flannel, I put it in a dark corner of the gold parlor and put a saucer of milk before its nose. At midday after school, creeping into the front room, there we saw the rabbit still and unmoving in the piece of flannel. It was a sore problem to us. "Why doesn't it drink its milk, mother?" we whispered. "Our father was still asleep. It prefers to sulk its life away. Silly little thing." Okay, so sore problem, it means the children, they are hurt and upset that the rabbit refuses all their attempts to care for it. And sulk is here to be silent, as he was not adjusting with that domestic life. Okay, so this rabbit was wrapped by them in a flannel. Flannel is a type of warm, soft cloth. So the author put it in a dark corner of the sitting room, and he put a saucer of milk close to its nose. Then when they came back from school, they found the rabbit is still and even not moving in that warm cloth. So for the children, really it became a problem, and so they were very upset as the rabbit refused all their attempts to care for it, and the mother just asked whether it drank milk. So the children spoke very quietly, and they were whispering in each other's ear, and their father was still sleeping. And narrator's mother said about the rabbit that it preferred to sulk its life away, as it means it is motionless, silent, and would die. So after the next paragraph, a great problem prefers to sulk its life. We put some leaves to its nose, but it took no notice, yet its eye was bright. At tea time, however, it had jumped a few inches out of its flannel, and there it sat again, uncovered, a little solid cloud of silence. Only its side moved slightly with life. Okay, so it was a problem for them if it would die, and they gave some leaves, but the rabbit did not take any notice, and so far its eye was bright when it was tea time. Then this little fellow just had jumped a few inches out of that warm cloth, and again it sat uncovered in silence, and it seems its side moved slowly as there was life. Now next, darkness came. My mother set off to work. The rabbit was still motionless. Despair was coming over the sisters, a thread of tears before bedtime. Clouds of my mother's anger gathered as she murmured against my father. So despair means here the state of having lost all hope. Now it just got dark, and it was the time for narrator's father to leave on his job, but there was movement in little rabbit, and narrator's sisters there was no movement in that little rabbit, and narrator's sister, both the sisters, they just lost all hope, and before bedtime the children were tearful, and mother was angry that father had brought it home. Okay, now the next, once more the rabbit was wrapped in the old flannel, but now it was carried into the scullery and put under the copper fireplace so that it might imagine itself inside a hole. The saucers were placed about 4 or 5 here and there on the floor, so that if the little creature should chance to jump about, it could not fail to come upon some food. Okay, so here one more time, this rabbit was wrapped in the old flannel, in that soft warm cloth, and it was carried into the scullery, and they just put it under fireplace. and so it may imagine that it is inside a hole. And when they just put this little rabbit under the fireplace, so they thought that now this rabbit will just imagine that he is in his hole. So they placed some saucers also just here and there, and that if the little creature would jump, so it could come upon the food which was kept for it. After this, my mother was allowed to take from the scullery what she wanted, and then she was forbidden to open the door. Forbidden, not permitted. When morning came and it was light, I went downstairs, opening the scullery door. I heard a slight movement. Then I saw drops of milk all over the floor, and there was the rabbit, the tops of his hair showing behind a pair of boots. He sat bright-eyed, moving his nose and looking at me while not looking at me. Okay, the narrator's mother then allowed to take the little creature from the scullery, and narrator could not understand, and then his mother was just not permitted to open that door. When the next morning came, he went downstairs to open the scullery door, and what he heard, a little movement, and also he saw drops of milk over the floor. Then he saw this little rabbit's ear, the top of the rabbit's ear just behind a pair of boots, and this little thing sat with bright eye, and some movement was also shown there, and also it was moving its nose and looking at the narrator as he is not looking at him, because till that time it was not much tamed. Okay, now the last lines. He was alive, very much alive. Father, my father stopped at the door. Father, the rabbit's alive. Of course, he said, mind how you go in. By evening, however, the little creature was tame, quite tame. So now narrator's father also came after the night shift, and by seeing it, he stopped at the door. Then the narrator told him that the little creature is alive, and so everyone became happy, and by evening this little creature was tame in the family and just mixed up with them. So really it was a nice story. Okay, now children, just to get the question answers, please go through the description box. Now children, with this chapter your second unit test syllabus is completed, and two chapters are coming in your second unit test, the Night Mail poem and A Wild Little Thing. Okay, so now we will meet with the next video, and in that one the second semester syllabus will be started. Okay, so till then just do your study very well. All the best.